A lot of the time with ADHD, we have this feeling that if I don't do this thing right now, that I'll never do it. And there might be some truth to that sometimes, but a lot of the time it relates to this thing called time-blindness, which is a core part of ADHD. We've talked about this before. And understanding it is very, very useful, very helpful. And I'm going to go through a few examples of that in a moment. So if you're new to the channel, by the way, my name's Jack. I have ADHD, I'm an ADHD coach, and I talk about the things that help me and help my clients lead better lives. So, this phenomenon, this sense that, oh my gosh, if I don't do this thing right now, it'll never happen. It creates this strong pressure, and often it's unrealistic. Often it puts us in these positions where we're compromised, where we might do things that we otherwise wouldn't, because we feel like this extreme sense of urgency. I'm reminded of a client who felt this strong sense that he had to go back to and reconnect with his family, who they were not the best with him. And he just suddenly, he sorted some other stuff out in his life, and then suddenly was like, okay, now I've got to go do this, and if I don't do it right now, no, I've got to do it right now. I've got to fix this. It's on my mind. It must occur. And unpacking it a little bit more, it became pretty clear that for him to do that would probably be not the best. It would probably very likely have a whole lot of consequences that would have not the best impact on his life and the progress that he had made up until that point. It was likely to be very disruptive. That's what I'm really getting at here. But still this strong sense of, no, I've got to do it now. And when I discussed it, or even shared the option of like, you could just not do that, or you could go do the thing that you need to in that place where your family are, and then just leave without doing all the other confrontation that you feel is burgeoning. And first of all, that didn't occur to him, and that's a normal thing for us, but also, like, we get hyper-focused, we see that's the thing, that's the only thing, there's no other things, and our hyper-focus strips away our ability to notice the other options. That's the thing to be aware of. And just as a quick aside on that topic, please be aware, there are always options. Always, even if you can't see them immediately. There is always a thing to do, no matter how hopeless or desperate or impossible it is. There are always options. There is always something else you haven't thought of. Just hear that. Very good to know. Coming back to this other situation, this sense of, okay, I told my client, hey, you could just not go. And that put us into this other realm of like, oh, but if I don't now, then I feel like I never will. And I need that closure eventually. And this is what's really important, because I never said, don't do it ever. I said, just not right now. Do what you have to and leave, and then regroup, consolidate, build on this position of strength that you've just arrived at. And then once you're ready, once it's right for you, go do the thing that you feel is a need. And the reason that was so foreign of a concept is because with ADHD, the best way to think about time blindness is that time for people with ADHD exists as either now or not now. Those are the two options. And if a thing is now, then it's the only thing that's now. We're infatuated, we're full, that's the thing that exists, and wow, and everything else we're kind of not as aware of. Everything is not now, if the thing is not happening in this present moment, then it's not a problem. It's never a problem. Why would anyone be bothered about that? I've had clients and I'm like, yeah, how's everything going? And they're like, yeah, everything's totally fine. I'm like, any incidents, anything come up? And they're like, no, not a single thing has occurred that I could recall. Everything's been absolutely perfect. And then, I might speak to the parent, in this case, something of a younger client, who then said, hey, did he tell you that like he hurled furniture across the room and like broke up all this stuff at school and like destroyed and smashed things, and like the cops were called on this young child? And it's like, that was yesterday. But to this person, well, it wasn't happening now, therefore it never happened. in a way. Like, it didn't occur to him when I said, have there been any things that you think are relevant? Any incidents, whatever, that didn't come up. It's not that he was hiding it. He wasn't aware of it. He was blind to that time, the time where that was occurring, because he was in the now. Hopefully this makes sense. By the way, just quickly, if I'm ever sharing stories about clients, I'm changing details. So I can draw from my experience in useful ways, but he wasn't throwing furniture, other things happened, and this person may or may not even have been male. It's irrelevant, maybe, whatever. This is me being over-responsible. Anyway. Coming back to what you actually care about here. So, time blind. Things are now, things are not now. And if they're not now, in a way, they're not ever. Now, I've given you an example of what it's like when they're not ever, they've never occurred. If we're looking at time blindness for past events, retrospective time blindness. But also it's prospective, it's looking to the future. And if a thing is going to happen in 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years or 20 years, in a way, it's all equally not now, which sometimes feels like, well, if it's not now, then how do I know it will occur? Probably it will never happen if it's not occurring right now. That's often how we feel. There's more aspects to this as well. Whatever, I'll give you another example. Sometimes if a thing is now, it might feel permanent. Like if my neighbor is, using his leaf blower early in the morning, I might wake up, that might make me feel upset. And my brain, which is time blind, is like, oh, this is my life forever and ever and ever now. Oh no, how horrible. I know that this will only occur for a certain amount of time, but my lived experience of it is like, oh no, this is permanent. This is how will I ever function ever again in my entire life? He's leaf blowing right this moment. That means it's forever. Hopefully, in a way, I hope you don't relate to that, because, it wasn't pleasant. But at another level, if you do, it's kind of normal for us. So maybe that's a bit validating. Coming back yet again. Okay, so time blind, looking forward. If a thing doesn't feel like it will happen now, it might feel like it will happen never. And that can cause us to make some not the best choices. Saying, oh no, I must do the thing right this moment or I'll never do it. That's not entirely true. And I remind my clients, just as my network reminds me, hey Jack, by the way, you're time blind, don't forget. So the things you're saying might be to do with you being time blind rather than actually how the world works or what's actually gonna happen. And I'm like, yeah, oh, thanks for pointing that out. Anyway, feedback is good. Okay. And it's useful to be reminded. That's really my point here. So maybe this is my little reminder to you. Maybe this is my reminder that if a thing is bothering you, preoccupying you, etc., well, don't be too worried. It may not be the rest of your life. Or if something's not happening, it doesn't mean it will never happen. You may just be being time blind in this instant, in this moment. It's okay. Step back, question, ask, am I being time blind? Or have your network remind you, oh, is time blindness a factor here? Oh, yes it is. Often that's reassuring. Because it means that the way that we're perceiving the world, which may not be serving us, may not be a complete view with all the evidence that we might be using to make up our opinions. All right, that's my piece for today. Thank you so much. If you don't know, I will be uploading a new video every single day of 2024. So if you like this, if this had anything useful and you want to hear more, see more of whatever topic we're going to be discussing tomorrow, hit subscribe if you want. Also, I would love if you wanted to share any comments. What was good, what was bad, useful, not useful, anything you'd like me to talk about next. Who cares? Jack, your nose looked really big in this one. Like, cool. I don't know if I want to know that one, but I'd still be nice to hear from people. So go nuts. Share, talk, whatever. It makes things less lonely for me to feel that the people that are watching this are actually people. All right. I'm out. Thank you. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.